Alright, welcome back to JorDan's Medieval Brawl, Season 2, Episode 1. We got Hera spawning as the Blue Trunks Mongols player. His opponent today is Villese as the Lithuanians in the Red Trunks. So here, whoops. Oh my god, wrong one. Again. Here today on Mega Random. Our players not having to play Nomad. Interesting map layout here with a lot of bog terrain in the middle and on the outskirts of the map. So this acts like marsh that you can build on top of. So you can have ships, you can have units and buildings going on it. You can't actually build across the sandbank other than, you know, that's where you can dock. This otherwise actually functions as both land and water. So, Hera, Mongols, great cavalry archer, and light cav civilization with a nice boost to their hunting and siege workshop movement speed, which is actually useful because you can really make use of mangonels and the scorpions actually being able to dodge and kite a lot better. Lithuanians here, Villese, so great cavalry and monk civ. If you can get a hold of multiple relics here, and I think there's only 1, 2, 3. I can't see a 4th and 5th relic here. 1, 2, 3. So Lithuanians do have damage scaling off the amount of relics that they've got in possession. So it benefits their knights and their lighties or ladies. I'm not sure exactly how to say that. They do have upgrades. Well, they do have an upgraded hussar unit in the winged hussar as well. But oh, do these guys actually cost gold? Where's they have their unique unit? Where is winged hussar? Or is it just a regular? Ah, okay, so it's just a regular upgrade. That replaces the normal hussar upgrade, and I think they must just get slightly extra health or damage or armor. Not 100% sure. Actually, we can figure it out, can't we? So, 89, 1, 2, so... Ah, yep, so, compared to regular hussar, they've got extra 5 health, extra 2 melee damage, and extra 1 melee armor. It's actually quite solid as a trash unit then. So even if you can't get a hold of the relics on Lithuanians, you can then just use your hussar as though they were knights anyway. But Hera, his cav archers, going to be hitting like trucks, so he'll be able to attack 25% faster. And his own light cav line is also going to have a nice health buffer. So early loom here for Villese. Well, Hera hasn't gone for it yet, so he does reap the advantage of being slightly ahead on eco instead. And the loom really going to discourage early scout cav harass, because I mean 10 health off a villager with loom leaves them with 30, 10 health off a villager without leaves them with 15, so Hera now going to go worry about scouting over trying to harass the vills of Villese instead. So there's a lot of starting gold and stone here for our players on this island around the town centre. So actually really safe for early game resources, funnily enough. A bit constrained for build space, and it's going to be quite difficult to actually wall yourself in properly here. Because again, you can't actually wall on the shoreline path. So you've sort of just got to rely on quick walling and resources. Or constricting yourself inside this little zone to begin with. So players both going for an early barracks. Age up there for Hera. Villese's not going to be too far away. He's going for early loom, so slightly down on the villager production. But in saying that, it's a hell of a lot easier for Villese to pinch a villager or two here. So Hera dropping a villager. And now he'll probably have to end up taking loom anyway, so he's going for loom now. But considering he's delayed it, being a little, perhaps a bit too greedy there. And so Villese going to walk out of this. One villager up. But Hera and Scout Kev in a lot better position to take an early engagement. A lot more health left on him, but there is already Spearman, or a spear here for Villese, and he's going to start cav production. Well, there'll be archery range, and what's he got stored in there? He's not actually producing any more range. Yeah, he's going to start making archers. Villese able to go for a range himself. Got a slight eco advantage here. This military, while it's up, he's got a really low health scout there as well, so that could come into play. Just now spears out, or a spear out. The Hera as well. Nice wall at the top side of his base, so it's really hard to try and sneak in here. So players will mainly be constricted for food once they run out of these berries and herdables here, because there's not a huge amount of space for farms, and again, with not being able to build on the shoreline, they've sort of really constricted themselves, so their farm space is quite minimal here. At least he's trying to prod at Hera, but he can't get into the back of the base. Now with 4 scout cav, might be just trying to tempt his opponent into putting more here on defense, otherwise he might be able to dive one of these villages. So Villese looking pretty scary here. Transitioning to skirmishes while we've got fletching on the way for Hera. It's restarting that archer production. He's up to 4 now. While Villese gonna have a few skirmishes banked up. 4 of those. So some eco upgrades kicking in for our players. Villese getting Town Watch horse collar. Well, Town Watch more of just a nice line of sight scouting upgrade. Actually, for his structures, more of a situational awareness at home, and if he does use outposts later on than anything. So Villese going to put his comp together. Hera unleashing his archer ball here, so he's got 6 of those guys. A spear, his scout cav. We've got a few skirms here for Villese, but a few of those less than there are archers. Our players both have got all the early ranged upgrades. Spear. Oh, that's a nice split there from Villese, not taking any damage. Very nice split. So Hera poking and prodding here. Not sure if he's actually managed to get any villagers through that. It's Villese now down on 2 villages, so he must have got a couple of villages there and I haven't noticed. Unless Villese's just gotten housed. Oh no, that's right, he took Town Watch. Spear on defense for Villese, but Want to pull him back, doesn't want to lose him because he'd be useful in trying to ward off this scout cav. Skirmishes. So they're going to try and bait the scout cav of Hera in here. Hera as well. Solid micro, not pulling too far away from his archers, doesn't want the comp of Villese trading into his scouts for free. That spear also taken engage. He falls. So Hera, there's been some good control with trying to harass Villese's army here. So Villese stopping to take the fight until the archers can engage there. So each player losing a scout cap, but there's more health on them for Hera at the moment. Lanian's bow turning to try and take a good fight with the skirmishers, getting a volley off as well. More of them in tow. Ooh, the skirmishers getting attacked a couple of times there, so one of them's going to fall. Hera now going to have to retreat because Villese stacked up a few units. Now Hera going to go for the engagement. Villese has a lot of skirms here, but now has no real front line to try and pick them off, other than this one spear, which he doesn't want to have come in range of the archers now. So the archers all falling of Hera's. Well, Villese going to have to try and be creative to get some value out of these skirmishes now, because a lot of them have been picked off. It's pretty even in terms of the kills. Villese one ahead at the moment, may be able to prevent a little bit of gold gathering here. So these guys aren't really going to kill them, but the more villagers he attacks, the more gold gathering he interrupts here. As the villagers pull back slightly, or flinch, and not be gathering momentarily. But the spear getting caught in the midst of things, probably not the best of ideas, because he will go down pretty quickly. Well, there is more production out of the range for Hera at the moment, so he's going to start stacking up 3 or 4 archers before unleashing, and the scout cav can probably go nuts on these skirmishes at the moment. There's only the one spear here at the moment, so he can't really be everywhere at once. So Hera trying to micro in on Villese's skirmishes here. These scout cav getting quite low. Ooh, and the the light cav getting tagged by that spear, so he falls. Just being unleashed now by Hera, but Villese in a good spot to pick them all off with this skirmisher ball. Same time, infantry's all fallen. So Villese's going to be careful to try and keep everything alive in the face of this scout cav. Hera's Castle Age kicking in. Villese will be taking his as we speak. Just finishing up getting upgrades for his cav, no doubt. So he can transition to knights. Hera taking crossbow, so he can get some more crossbows out, well, get some more archers out, have the crossbows there, maybe use knights or light cav to defend for a little bit, and then ultimately switch to cavalry archers. Looks like for now Hera's actually just gonna rely on knight crossbow. Oh yeah, we got pretty heavy transition to knights and an attempt at grabbing the relics. For Villese here, he wants to pick this one up, and you know, he might even look at throwing down a monastery over here to grab this relic a little bit faster as well. Just because the monks, unless you're Aztecs and you've upgraded your monks are fucking squishy and really just a way to throw away 100 gold at a time because they're so slow as well without upgrades. So Villese actually bringing this with the army, because he might be able to try and convert that knight, which would be pretty big. He could. So Hera going to start getting some monks. Neither player going for a relic just yet. I would have thought Villese with that such a forward monastery position would have been eager to snatch this relic up straight away. But he doesn't actually... Oh, he doesn't actually know about any of the relics except for the one behind Hera at the moment. That's a nice conversion. Even if the knight goes down, the fact that he's stolen it from his opponent is a big blow. Because you can think about it as Hera being forced to kill his own unit. As long as this monk is alive until he's able to get another conversion off, that's pretty much the way you should look at that. But in saying that, like, look at this slow motherfucker. He's probably going to get sniped here or force an engagement. But in saying that, Villese has a really solid front line here. Oh, the skirm's actually able to save the knight there. That's unbelievable. They usually save the monk there against the knight. Usually these guys are so bloody useless against knights. Forward belt. Siege workshop. Nanganel will be quite useful against crossbows. Hera probably going to want to transition to cav archers because being mounted and having that unique attack speed bonus will probably be a much more useful unit. Probably won't have to work as hard basically to split up your range against the siege. It just becomes a lot easier to dodge when you've got the quicker firing and quicker moving cavalry. And Mangudai, the unique unit for the Mongols, pretty much the same thing. Like both of them, both that and cav archers over crossbows. Once, you know, Villese really gets going with mangonels and knights, I think it's sort of the way to go. Because you can just hit and run against the two a little bit better. Oh, a bit of friendly fire there, but bearing in mind it was on the converted knight, so it's not the biggest blow in the world. Again, he's effectively stolen that unit off Hera. In an ideal world, he wouldn't have got that mangonel shot off and would have had another knight in tow here, but saying that, Hera, a lot of monks of his own to try and get some conversions, but Villese manages to snag one of those. So for Hera's sake, I hope he gets a couple of conversions off here, considering he's starting to commit to those guys. So he's brought back one of the relics. Actually, he's taken it out of his monastery because I think he's worried he might lose it. Oh, he's dropped it there because he's worried he'll lose the monastery. He doesn't want two relics going straight to his opponent. So Villese gonna start harassing over this side. Only a couple of skirmishes, so it's nothing huge, but it is going to delay a little bit of build time, and it might force Hera to have to bring a couple of units to deal with this. He's sending 4 knights, which, while it's an expensive defense for 3 skirmishes and sort of putting them out of position here, he could look at raiding with them to follow up and really force Villese to pull things at home, but he has to make this quick. In fact, he probably only needed to send 2 knights and send another 2 just straight over here, because Villese is applying some good pressure at the moment. He's up. Oh, he's down by 19 villages to Hera at the moment, but he's seems to be making a bit of ground. Looks like he'll be able to pinch one of Hera's relics. So it looks like Hera was aware of one more relic than our Lithuanian player, which is nice for him because he's, able to deny him from scaling up with all that free damage that they get from the relics. But at the same time now, Villese should be able to get this relic. Just being forced back momentarily. The knights have cleaned everything up, but again, I think that was a bit of an expensive defense for Hera. He could have had 2 of them over here helping out, or sent 2 of them straight over to raid Villese, who hasn't fully walled himself up. He's sort of been relying on the pressure he's been applying so far to not have to worry about raiding. That village is trapped. Looks like Villese has found this 3rd relic and has managed to... Well, who's managed to snatch that 2nd relic? So Villese bringing back a relic. Ah, here we go. Hera's managed to grab this other one back and just camping them there while he puts down a safer position monastery. There we go. In the midst of a bunch of other buildings. A little bit better hidden, take a bit of time to cut through to. Well, Villese are going to get his first relic, so his knights are going to scale up, get a free damage upgrade basically. Hera needs to probably get a bit more value than a single skirmisher here. I think it'd be nice if he could try and even hit this gold mine, but by now Villese's ready with 5 knights versus 4, and now he's going to have that bonus damage just in time as well. These guys are really going to scale up. So Villese are going to be able to take a much nicer fight now. Although that mangonel, I think that might have inflicted just as much friendly fire. Ooh, that was a nice shot from the mangonel there. So Hera's crossbow's all falling. And Villese a much bigger cavalry ball at the moment. He's managed to clean things up back at home for minimal losses too. Hera is up by 25 villages at the moment though. So I think he's managed to squeeze in an extra town center. He's gone to 3 already, so Villese's now up to 3, but I don't think he's had the 3rd town center as early, and I don't think he's had consistent triple TC production. Whereas Hera, even though he's lost more villages than his opponent, he is still up in that villager count. Villese is well ahead in the kill death ratio at the moment, but bearing in mind if most of that is villagers versus like knights and siege, like if it's villagers and archers versus knights and siege, Villese's actually, you know, having to trade more expensive units in, although Hera's having to get more expensive units now himself in the Mangudai. So probably use either them purely or a mix of them and cavalry archers to try and hit around the map now. So Knight able to clean up another couple of villages, but he ultimately does fall as well. And again, that's sort of the fight I'm talking about. The Knight dying, an expensive unit, cleans up 2 or 3 villages. So on paper, kill death ratio really does favour Villese, but at the same time, Hera killing the more expensive unit, the gold unit as well. Nice raid here by Villese, so he's going to get a handful of villages now. Close that Vil gap a little, so it's now only at 12. It was 25, so Villese, now that he's on even popular... Oh, there we go, 4th town centre. Now for Hera, I think he realises that Vil gap that he did have has been pretty much halved, so he's going to be able to clean this up with the 7 Mangudai, so pretty easily. But again, Villese making sure that Vil gap doesn't scale out uncontrollably, although he is having to sacrifice gold units for villages, which may come back to haunt him. Although he does have access to a fair bit of safe gold still. So for the time being, he's alright to just keep trying to deny eco here, because he doesn't want Hera just scaling up to like 140 Vil pop and then just, you know, booming out to being post-imp and then just pushing to win. Because right now Hera is still up economically, and that Vil lead is starting to grow once again. The Knights being tailed around the map by an ever-growing number of Mangudai. This villager should get picked off here, but at the cost of another couple of Knights. So again, I don't know how long Villese can just keep trading Knights for Vils. It was working, but now Hera's actually starting to really creep ahead in terms of the military count. So I think Villese might have overcommitted to this, because by now if he starts trying to raid, Hera should have units back on defense, unless he's trying to just go YOLO, just Hail Mary, just harass Villese as much as possible while he's just taking Imperial Age and trying to get Imperial techs and units out. Because it is quite expensive getting those first couple of trebuchets just after you've paid for your age up, and you generally, you know, you're wanting to get all your Imperial upgrades for your unit at both at your blacksmith and at their production facility. So Villese going to start raiding now. On Hera, may not have actually brought enough back on defense here. He's got, there we go, he does have a Mangudai ball, and Villese being denied a little bit of gold here, but Hera being denied a little bit of farming eco here, and both of them losing a couple of villages, but Villese might be able to ward off the Mangudai army with his elite skirms. They do outrange them by one, as well as being a nice counter to them. So these knights being cleaned up by Hera, so some good defense by him, but equally solid defense here by Villese. There's another prong to Hera's harass here. He's going to start picking away a couple of villages over at the lower side over here. So this Vil gap is actually really starting to favour Hera. He's up 37 Vils at 135 to 98. And now Villese a step ahead on the siege production. He's got 3 of those trebs, so he can start working down the castles, eating through his opponent's stone economy, but at the same time, Mangudai seem to be quite a solid range choice against them. Like, a lot of ranged units, like skirms in particular, just flat out suck against trying to take down the siege, but Mangudai seem to have no issue. Things settling down for a bit. But at least he's managed to clean up the attacks on both sides of his base. Hera trying to... well, he was trying to get as much vision as possible, but that villager must have gotten cleaned up. Villese trying to push forward with the army of skirms now, though, because these guys, although they're going to get picked off by the castle really easy, they're quite cheap, and they do counter these... I was going to say, they do counter these Mangudai, but there's just not quite enough of them to guard these trebs. So Villese having a tap out there, I think he's a little bit worried that, you know, he's just sort of lost. Basically going to lose all of this, and Hera will be in the position just to push his eco with that mass of the Mangudai. So GG, Hera takes the game.